The U.S. Geological Survey states that water dowsing doesn't work. Tell that to my dead grandpa. I hail from a line of water worshippers. As a kid, we sat around my grandma's living room for family gatherings. Every couch was packed with people, body to body. Even the walls were occupied by people leaning. In that small living room in Harriman, Utah, 9 kids and all their kids walked to and from the kitchen to grab homemade rolls and leftover roast, while the adults told stories of Dad, my grandpa, a highly religious man of Mormon stock, walking through the desert with his dowsing rod, a tool used for water witching and divination to locate underground water sources. I guess he had a gift. He could find it out there. I imagine him digging with his bare hands or maybe with a shovel. I don't know because I didn't know him well. But everyone agreed. Water gurgled from the belly of the earth, through his fingers up to his lips. My mom sent my dad walking around the house with his own witching stick, searching for his lost keys and cheap gas station sunglasses. Like my father before me, I lack the skill. But I still carry the blood of water witches. Desert rats have a singular obsession bound by 2 elements: the life giver, the life taker. Water. You can see the shadows out there, and that's where I'm heading. If you've never gotten a bit panicky about water, I'd venture to guess that you've never run out of it. Where's the next source? How much? What kind? Alkaline? No thanks. I've only got this much left. Do you have any? Spring-fed, pothole, water tank, cow pond, creek, drip, drop, gusher, or seep. Mighty Colorado, San Juan, green, or side canyon. Does it taste like dirt, sand, cows, heavy metals, fertilizer, sewage, or fresh as fuck? Silty, sandy, clear, what color? Did it rain? Is it supposed to rain? Liters, drops, is your food dehydrated? Water, 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 water. Some come to it on accident. Some, like me, were born into it.
So this is an old cowboy way?
No, I'm not saying it's cowboy, it's an old-timer way. And that's what they did back in the day. When they can't dig a well somewhere, build a house, they'd witch a well.
They call it witching.
I don't know.
Well, witching, like a witch, right?
That's all I've known it by.
Wow.
Scientific testing has never proven that dowsing is more accurate than chance. But that doesn't mean that dowsers are frauds.
Mr. Power explains water divining by biological electricity.
Look at that. See that big tree right there? I see they're fixing to move right there.
Water divining is an age-old practice that many people swear by, despite a lack of scientific explanation.
Unfortunately, it is not based in physics or science fact, and it has never survived a double-blind test. Dowsing is unprovable. Every time it has been tested, it has come up for naught.
Using 2 metal rods, those who practice divining wait for sensation or movement from the rods.
Until he's crossed them.
My grandpa spent a lot of time in south central Utah. He was a small-framed, skinny man with black, tight, curly hair. He always seemed to wear a long-sleeve button-down shirt tucked into his jeans, cinched with a belt. That or his black church suit. Everybody says he loved it out there in the desert. He was like a bighorn sheep, well-adapted and not fussy. To me, he seemed direct and no-nonsense. He was devoted to doctrine and the rules and regulations of his gospel. To him, those matters were matter of fact.
Even Stephen McAndrew, who divines, doesn't know how it works.
It just doesn't make sense to me, but it seems to work. And yeah, very strange. Don't know. But I've always been able to do it. But people say they can't do it. I disbelieve that. I reckon everyone can do it. They just don't know what they're seeing.
I imagine water witching was probably matter of fact to him as well. Maybe he called on the help of God or his religion, but ultimately, his disposition as I knew it would have dictated witching as a skill that was necessary to find the most precious resource on earth. Water witches have deep place knowledge. They work in the space where intuition meets local memory, vegetation recognition, groundwater probability, and familiar landscape forms. If I were searching for water in the desert Southwest, I'd look for cottonwood trees. David Lee, former poet laureate of Utah, called them the great water hogs. Cottonwoods need abundant water to grow big and full. You'll find them waving their happy green leaves like prayer flags guiding you to washes that are prone to flash flooding. I might search for water pockets, holes in sandstone that catch rainfall. Noticing if there are damp spots in the sand next to towering walls, or if there are plants blooming out of stone, I'd smell for fresh growth. I'd look for slick rock overhangs in the color green. Water dowsing was born of ritual, and in the arid Southwest from desperation. Its origins lie with farmers and folk populations. After all, water wells are expensive, and without water, life is unsustainable. Any kind of reassurance of success is worth a chance. Living in one of the driest places on the planet calls for equal parts skill and faith. As fresh water, the most precious resource on our planet, begins to dwindle, I feel closer to my ancestors than I ever have before. I, too, am desperate for reassurance.
The rods are doing what they're doing. And I just start out like this right here.
I will never forget my own panic while attempting the Hayduke Trail at running out of water somewhere near the Needles district of Canyonlands. It had been a dry summer and an even drier fall. Indian Creek Wash had nothing. The mesas we climbed had nothing. The canyon we'd walked through yesterday morning had next to nothing. Just white alkaline patches on slick rock, and a small seep that would have given us diarrhea and wrung us out like washcloths. Maybe a half hour after sundown, we walked through a patch of cold, humid air. You could smell the weight of ferns growing nearby. When we found it, water was trickling through the sand in the middle of a dry wash. Overwhelm smacked me like I'd belly flopped into sand. Too dehydrated to cry, I almost lost myself in rapture. It felt like that scene in Holes where Shia LaBeouf finds water on God's thumb. My conversion was through water.
And do you believe in supernatural or anything?
I've never watched any of that stuff. I don't know. Did they use some of that stuff for the supernatural stuff?
Yeah.
I've never watched any of it.
It's kind of mojo-y, isn't it?
I don't know how this works. I don't know why it does or why it doesn't. And some people can do it. And some people hold these things, they walk for 14 miles and never wiggle.
And in Texas, how important is it?
You got to have water. If you don't have water, you don't have anything.
But as the rising cost of living puts pressure on farmers, picking up 2 metal rods to find a resource as precious as water remains an attractive option.
I don't think that they're being dumb. They grew up, they were taught this thing. There may be all sorts of fascinating ways in which the human body can detect tiny changes in gravity or magnetism or just landscape and understand where the water table might be rising closer to the surface. All those things are possible and plausible.
And groundwater is foundational to modern human life. It supplies nearly a third of the world's fresh water.
If you don't practice my religion, I won't try to convert you. Any god who's worth her weight in water is generous enough to give you a sip from a cup you recognize. You might be a mountain, forest, ocean, or tundra lover. You might find your deity in the moss, trees, or rocks. But you could always dabble. And if you decide to see who you might become in a dry, angular land, I'll meet you out there on the slick rock at sundown. If we run out of water, my grandpa might walk beside us with his witching stick.